and supporting the environment. Today, we are here to talk about the disproportionate impact on LDCs on climate change and disasters, as well as the importance of protecting their rich biodiversity and natural endowments. Through this conversation, we can ensure that economic growth in the LDCs is decoupled from carbon emissions and usher in unparalleled progress that will help the world reach our 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. LDC 5 is a once-in-a-decade opportunity to set the most vulnerable countries on course, from potential to prosperity, driven by the people in this room.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. Your Excellency Kausea Natano, the Prime Minister of Tuvalu, distinguished heads of state and government, distinguished ministers, distinguished representatives of observers, relevant entities of the United Nations system, and other accredited intergovernmental organizations, representatives of civil society, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I call to order the 5th high-level thematic roundtable of the 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries on the theme Addressing Climate Change and Supporting the Environment. Let me take this opportunity to cordially welcome all of you to this high-level thematic roundtable. I am honored to serve as your co-chair, together with His Excellency Kausea Natano, Prime Minister of Tuvalu. The summary of our discussions here today will be presented to the closing plenary meeting of the conference in the afternoon of Thursday, 9th of March. So before we proceed, I would like to make some introductory remarks about the theme of our discussion today. It is my great honor to chair this high-level thematic roundtable with the distinguished Prime Minister of Tuvalu, Mr. Kausea Natano. I have a good reason for sharing my sincere sentiments with you about my presence. In Slovenia, a small country by size, but a biodiversity hotspot in Europe, we are particularly sensitive to the negative consequences of climate change, visible in changing rainfall and general seasonal patterns resulting in floods, droughts, and wildfires at an unprecedented scale. It pains me that for small island states, which represent 1/5 of the UN membership, these consequences are a matter of survival. For small island states and Slovenia, climate change is not just a human security issue, but it is also a major international security issue. Not only it does increase the existing security risks in areas with ongoing conflicts, but it also creates new sources of instability and new or increased vulnerabilities. The recent UN Secretary Council open debate on the impact of sea level rise on international peace and security reflected these realities. Indeed, no country is immune to climate change. However, the least developed countries unfortunately are suffering the most, also due to the ongoing lack of global solidarity. In this regard, I hope that we will use this roundtable to discuss past mistakes from which we can and need to learn to address current challenges and to identify obstacles to be effectively addressed so that the vision for the least developed countries as laid out in the Doha Program of Action will materialize. And let me be clear, there will be no real progress without effective and inclusive participation of everyone, of all parts of our societies, including those that are often marginalized, do not sit at the same decision-making table or participate, but are not heard. women and youth, indigenous people, and different minorities have a real stake in societal progress and well-being. They are the key in helping avert climate breakdown. The 6 focus areas of the Doha Program of Action are decidedly interlinked, as particularly all the discussions at all panels at this conference clearly demonstrate. However, acquiring proper tools, such as warning systems, for example, requires proper financing. And proper financing requires the reform of the international financial system as we know it. In this respect, I am pleased to see that ideas such as the Bridgetown Initiative receive close attention worldwide. As has been pointed out by a high-level official in the context of the IMF and the World Bank reform, when global financial institutions were set, there were no common global challenges like climate change. Now we have to mobilize to address them. Needless to say that now is long overdue. Many excellent ideas and solutions will be presented at today's roundtable, and many others have been on the agenda at multiple multilateral forums for decades. Technology transfer has been regularly on the international agenda at least since 1970s. Unfortunately, too often in the past, the overhaul of the financial system created in 1945 was considered by many as wishful thinking. Today, I am pleased to see that more and more global decision makers realize that this has become nothing less than solidarity and survival-driven, realistic thinking. I really look forward to productive discussion, and now I would like to give a floor to my co-chair, the Prime Minister of Tuvalu, Mr. Kausea Natano. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Nataša Pirc Musar, President of the Republic of Slovenia, distinguished heads of states and governments, distinguished ministers, representatives of observers, relevant entities of the United Nations system, and other accredited intergovernmental organizations, representatives of civil society.